She mocked his childhood home, not knowing who actually owned half the city. I can still picture the look on her face when she first stepped inside. It wasn't shock or surprise. It was pure, unadulterated disgust. "I grew up here," I told her quietly, my voice barely a whisper. "It's not fancy, but it's home." She didn't bother to reply. Her eyes just scanned the small, modest house, tracing every crack in the plaster and every worn piece of furniture, as if they personally offended her. This all went down in a quiet, tree-lined neighborhood just outside Columbus, Ohio. "My name's Ethan. I'm 29. I've always believed in working hard and keeping my head down." Her name was Madison. She was 27, and her life was a curated collection of designer purses, luxury heels, and constant reminders of the privileged world she came from. She never missed an opportunity to let you know exactly where she stood on the social ladder. That night was a big deal for me. It was the first time I was bringing her home to meet my parents. My mom, a woman whose warmth could melt glaciers, greeted Madison at the door with a genuine, beaming smile. She still had a dusting of flour on her hands from preparing the meal, her simple dress a stark contrast to Madison's designer outfit. There was no flashy jewelry, no pretense, just a mother happy to meet her son's girlfriend. Madison leaned in close to me, her whisper sharp and loud enough for everyone to hear. "People actually still live like this?" The words hung in the air, heavy and cruel. My mom heard it. I saw the briefest flicker of hurt in her eyes before she smoothed it over with her usual grace. She said nothing, she just led us to the dining room. Dinner was tense. Madison poked at the lovingly prepared food on her plate with the tip of her fork, her nose wrinkled in distaste. "I'm sorry," she announced to the table, her voice ringing with false apology. "I'm just used to 5-star restaurants." The silence that followed was deafening. My mom, bless her heart, just smiled gently. "I made it fresh this afternoon," she said. "Maybe you could just try a little?" Madison let out a short, sharp laugh. A laugh that felt like a slap. Trying doesn't change something cheap. That was it. That was the line. My dad, who had been silent until now, finally spoke. His voice was low but carried a weight that made the room go still. "That's enough," he said. "You're a guest in our home." Madison, unfazed, crossed her arms defiantly. "Respect is earned," she shot back. "And let's be honest, this place doesn't exactly scream success, does it?" Then her gaze shifted to me, cold and calculating. "If we're going to be serious, Ethan, your parents can't ever live with us. It's just not an option. And your mom, she really needs to upgrade her look. It's embarrassing." The room fell completely silent. You could have heard a pin drop. The air crackled with the unspoken tension. My dad didn't raise his voice. He simply reached under the table and slid out a thick manila folder, placing it squarely in the middle of the table. "Madison," he said, his voice calm and even. "Do you happen to know who owns the land where your father's new luxury apartment complex is being built? The one he's so proud of?" Her smug smile started to falter. She stared at him, confused. My dad didn't wait for an answer. "My wife does," he continued, gesturing with his head toward my mom. "He's been leasing it from her for the past 12 years. We just renegotiated the terms last month. Market value for that parcel of land is currently hovering around $18 million. My mom, who had been quiet through the entire ordeal, finally spoke. Her voice was soft, but every word landed with the force of a hammer blow. "Real wealth, Madison, doesn't need to announce itself. It's quiet, it's confident. It doesn't need to put others down to feel big." My heart was pounding in my chest. I pushed my chair back and stood up, looking directly at Madison. Her face was a mask of disbelief and dawning horror. "I brought you here tonight to see if you loved me," I said, my voice shaking with a mix of anger and disappointment. "Not my status, not my money, just me. The real me and the family that made me who I am." I didn't need to wait for her answer. The truth was written all over her face. She grabbed her ridiculously expensive handbag, her hands trembling slightly, and walked out of the house without another word. The front door clicked shut behind her, and in the silence, it felt like a lifetime of inauthenticity had just walked out with her. I turned and hugged my mom tightly, burying my face in her shoulder. She smelled like flour and home. She wrapped her arms around me and whispered in my ear, "Character, my son, always shows itself when you think nothing is at stake." That night, I didn't lose a girlfriend. I dodged a bullet. I learned that the most valuable things in life, love, respect, and character, can't be bought, and they certainly can't be faked. True worth isn't about what you own, it's about who you are when no one's watching. If you believe that respect matters more than someone's background, and that true character is priceless, hit that subscribe button. And if you agree that character still means everything, comment yes down below. Thanks for watching.